legacy means. Tell me what will your legacy be?
Welcome to the first round of the playoffs post-game show. I am your host, Greg Horne from the Weekly Rebound. I'm joined by Quinn, who's been here a bunch, and then we got a familiar face with us too, Allan, Flint Tropics' very own. I'll start with you, Allan. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. You know, it's no spoilers, but rough night we got to talk about for our boys, Flint Tropics. Quinn, what about you? How you doing?
Doing pretty well.
Good. We got some good vibes in this post game. I like to see that. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'll kind of get into what everyone's here to see, and that's the playoff matchups that we had last night, and they were some incredible games. It's just a running theme this season that it's a very even league. The competition is very close, and it's just really, really cool to see because last year, when you guys weren't here, it was very, very top heavy. We didn't really have a close game until I want to say maybe the semis. It might have been the finals that was the closest game. So really cool to see some close matchups this year. We're going to get right into it with the biggest skis. And I got to shout out my boy Dev. I talked some shit to the skis on the last post-game show, and they ended up taking out my boys, the Flint Tropics, 50-43. So let me eat my crow. Dev, you guys did your thing. Don't bet against the biggest skis. They are a phenomenal team. They really proved me wrong last night, and I got to tip the hat to them. They're a great group of guys, and, I like to have my fun, but I got to admit when I'm wrong. It's part of the job, and shout out to the skis getting that 50-43 win. But, Allan, I'll go to you. You were on that court. I know you love Flint too, but what did you see from the biggest skis, and how did they pull this out? And in fairness to the biggest skis, they also were without Vic, who was one of their better players, probably their best player this season. He wasn't eligible, but they still got the job done. Allan, what'd you see?
When I heard that, I was a little bit worried for them off the start, but then I don't know, they blew me away kind of. I didn't really think they were gonna win that game, and then they started off. It started off a very slow game. It was 8-7 in the first quarter, and then they only scored 7 points or 11 points each in the second quarter, and then in the third quarter, same thing, and then the fourth quarter, both teams kind of locked in. They started to play more of their game. Flint just didn't really shoot that well from three, didn't really shoot that well, so I just think that Biggest Skis played a very good game, but I think Flint did not play their game. So I think it's to each their own how you want to place each team.
Yeah, and obviously I always shout out the Trailblazers. I'm always glazing Flint, but I got to show some skis love in this game. I think I was watching their interview after the game you did, Allan, which was a great one, and I saw some of them saying we're peaking at the right time, and I think they really are. I want to give credit to Jaden, Jordan, Justin, Miles, Dev, Isaiah, Greg, they all played a role in this game. They all participated. They all did everything they needed to get that win. When you play a team like Flint, they're going to be aggressive. They're going to be physical. It's not going to be an easy game. It's going to be a sloppy game. I mean, at halftime, it was 15 to this game was a grinded out battle. Very reminiscent of a football game. And the Biggest Skis, they deserve a ton of credit. Tip of the hat. They played their best basketball game when it mattered most against a team that gave a lot of top teams a lot of trouble. So shout out to the Biggest Skis. They're going to move on to the next round. And my Flint Tropics, love you boys for life. Always got your back, but going to have to hold the L on this one. And speaking of holding the L, Back Outside Boys, unfortunately, is going to have to as well. They fell to Run TMC 70-61. Was a really, really good game. Again, I want to just say these scores, they get a little crazy, in the kind of garbage time of these games, but they were very, very, very close the whole game. So Quinn, I'll kind of let you take it away, but I know Joey will want to hear this. Shout out to Run TMC. They're looking like maybe a heavy favorite right now going into the semifinals. But Quinn, how did TMC take this?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it was a close game. It was closer than most people expected. I think on the last podcast, I think you, Greg, were the one that said that this game might be a little bit closer than we might have imagined, and it was. I think the first three quarters, it was really close. Back Outside Boys were really playing their best basketball that they could against a strong TMC team, and eventually they couldn't keep up. By the fourth quarter, they looked tired out there, and TMC they kept hitting their shots. And Reggie Stewart, I mean, 20 points this game, but I felt like it was one of his most lackluster games, and they still come out with the win. I think that's a good sign for TMC. Obviously, they want him to sort of get going in these playoffs, and I bet he will. I have no doubt that he won't, but it's good to see some other guys getting more points, not just Reggie. And it looked like that they were really working out there as a team. Only 5 guys showed up, but it didn't really seem to be an issue for them. They didn't seem too tired out there. And as for back outside boys, got to give my props to Dante Hodge. He's been working this season. He's been out there. He's been doing his thing, and he was helping them stay in this game. Just unfortunate loss for them, but they did the best they could. And props to back outside boys and TMC. Move on to next week.
Yeah, no, TMC, we're going to give them a lot of credit going forward, talking about next week. But I actually want to give the back outside boys some credit. They had a really rough beginning of this year. They turned it around. They kind of figured out. They did a great job. And I really think this team, they got some solid, good pieces. I love James, I love Alex, Dante's good. I mean, their whole team's solid. I just feel like they could use maybe a tall, athletic big man, and that would really, really help them in this league, especially with some of the teams we have in this league. Most teams have a few big guys that can really move out there. And I know they got one big guy, and he's great down low. But if they could get someone who can stretch the floor a little more athleticism, I think Back Outside Boys has a really, really solid roster to build on. So I want to give them credit. They had a great season, and I hope to see them back because I love watching them play. I really, really do. And I hope Dante Hodge gets in the three-point contest because I know he'd love that. But for TMC, I mean, they hate me right now, so there's nothing I can say that will make me make me get on good graces with them. I will say I've always been the Eric Singleton guy in this league. I still stand by it. He's the most underrated player in this league, and I mean, night in, night out, he proves me right. And Reggie, I know you're mad at me, Reg, but you run TMC, so shout out to TMC. You guys did your thing, and they're moving on to the next round. And speaking of another close game, it's another close game in this next one where the scoreboard really doesn't tell the tale of the game. So just so everyone knows, Trailblazers did end up taking down Snipe Squad 87-77, but I just want to put a caveat in there. Went to double overtime. They fouled out in double overtime. They had a few Angelo D'Amato fouled out in double overtime. And if you know the Snipe Squad team, they're a very two-man heavy team. They lost one of their guys. This game was a tie game pretty much, I want to say the whole game. I mean, this was back and forth. Tim Case was just absolutely going crazy. Javon Chapman had probably the best game we've seen this year statistically in the game. I mean, he had 47 points, 5 rebounds, an assist. He made 15 of 21 free throws. I mean, this was a crazy, crazy game. But in the end, Trailblazers, I think, just had a little more depth that took them over the top because once Angelo went out, it just seemed like the Blazers were like, all right, Tim Case isn't going to beat us. We'll make someone else beat us. But Quinn, how did Glazers pull this one out?
I mean, I think you said it. I think Javon Chapman, he's a different breed on that court. I mean, he really came out to play this week, and I said on last week's podcast, I felt like this game might be a little bit closer than we might assume, and it was. But I mean, Trailblazers proved me wrong. I said they might come in a little bit too confident, a little bit too cocky, but I think that they came in level-headed. I think they came to play, and they know where they stand in these playoffs, and they know they got work to do. The work's not done, and Javon Chapman did not come to mess around. 47 points, his best game probably of the entire season. Got to give props to Jake Morales too, 21 points. My boy right there. He's doing his thing for that team too. And they just look good out there. But Snipe Squad, they did the best they could. And it was close pretty much the whole way. And once Angelo fouled out, that was sort of, they could only do so much from there. Tim Case, he's a great player, but if he's the only one really doing much out there, and Angelo's not out there, then they're going to have a bit of difficulty against this Trailblazers team. So, Snipe Squad, you did your thing. You were hitting your shots. They look good pretty much throughout the whole way until the second overtime. But yeah, got to give props to them and both the Trailblazers, who we'll see next week.
Yeah, and I just want to give Trailblazers, again, we're going to talk about them in the next segment, but I just want to give Snipe Squad their flowers. There's been a lot of teams in this league. I'm going to shout them out. I played on a team, Light It Up. I played on the Titans. There's a gentleman's club who played 3 games, lost by 50 each game, and quit. There's been a lot. Blood, sweat, and beers is another good one. There's been some fry time, like some teams that started really, really bad. Like I mean, like way worse than Snipe Squad. Some not as bad. And I think Snipe Squad's a really good example of just they didn't get down on themselves. They're like, look, we're not playing great in the beginning. Let's figure it out, and what can we do to really work in this league? And if I told you after the first 3 weeks, Snipe Squad was going to go to double OT against the Trailblazers in the first round of the playoffs and they could have won this game, I feel like a lot of us would have been like, no way. So I just want to give Snipe Squad their coach, shout out their coach. He was there every single game in a suit, every single game. I don't know his name, but shout out their coach. Shout out to Snipe Squad. I just really want to give these guys their flowers because they came every week, putting out. And just so you guys know, too, these kids are all like 19, maybe. I think Connor said one of them's 20. Like, these are some young kids out there. And, I mean, I just got to give credit to Snipe Squad because they really did their thing in a game where they were underdogs. So, shout out to Snipe Squad on a great season. I hope to see them back. But the Trailblazers did end up taking that one. And I think Jelly's a big reason why. But that'll get us to the next game, the last game of the first round matchups, which was Get Money against Family First. Get Money ended up taking that 61-54. The Get Money boys were without Kyle Davis this week, but it was a first round matchup where they won last week, and it seemed like they kind of just picked up right where they left off. For Family First, I just don't know if they have enough depth. They have some good guys, but I think the depth is something they ran into here. But Allan, what'd you see? Get Money ended up taking it.
That game was awesome. I felt like it was a really well, like, offensively game. Family First played very well. They had this kid, I don't know if you guys knew, I just found out yesterday. He's actually 17 years old. And he was crazy. He could hit threes. He kept them in the game towards the end, Family First. But I think Get Money's full team, I think, is just, in my opinion, a little better. I think that defensively, they're way better than most teams in this league. And offensively, I think they have about 3-4 guys that could really, like, put it on you, could really get to the rim fast, can dunk the ball. I think that that's their real strong suit. And I think especially with Get Money, if they play good defense, and I think that if they play offensively this well and they can drive this well, that I think a team that doesn't have a full bench like they do all the time is going to have trouble versus them. And I was saying this yesterday, I think Get Money is probably, in my opinion, 1A, 1B to run TMC. I think that they have a shot to go back to the finals, which they already were, and maybe revive themselves, get a little bit of revenge, and win the game finally.
Yeah, no, I actually think Get Money has not played their best basketball this year at all. I think they would agree with that. They've had some rough games. They haven't shot well. And I just this Get Money team's funny. They remind me a lot of a team we used to have in this league called the Brotherhood. And the Brotherhood was extremely talented, like Tyron, Tyshe, Xavier, like the brother and cousin combo. I got that right this time. Like Tarek McCall, Terrell, like all these guys are good, but they play a brand of team basketball, and you can tell they're a family. These guys love playing together. It's actually funny how Kyle Davis fit in so well, and it's something about this team that just I don't know what it is. Even in games when they went 4 of 21 from three in this game. That's not good. That's not typical Get Money, but they still find ways to win, and that's something I love about this Get Money team. I think they grind it out and they do what they need to kind of move on, and that's going to help them in the long run because these next semifinals and the finals games are going to be some gritty games. So I think that's huge for Get Money. I like that, Allan. And speaking of the semifinals, why don't we make our predictions here? Unfortunately, my champion prediction is eliminated. So all right, RIP to my dreams, but. We're going to start with you, Allan, and then we'll go to Quinn. I guess I'll make my pick first. We got Run TMC versus Biggest Skis at the 8 o'clock game. Let me see if TMC and Skis played this season. They did. TMC took it 79-68 in that week. They did have Eric Langston in that game, which is a big thing. I'm sure you guys remember Eric Langston. He's kind of the bigger guy, 13, very vocal out there. He can shoot threes. He's a huge player for them. So that was a close game. For this one, This is a lose-lose for me. Do I even want to pick this game? Just TMC and Dev, just so you guys, I know they're watching. I don't need to pick this game. I'm going to pick this game because I'm a man. And I am going to take, you know what, Run TMZ hates me anyways. I'm going to go biggest skis in this one. They took out my boys, the Flint Tropics. They're really coming together at the right time. And I could. This is kind of a hard one for me. I don't want to bet against Reggie in the playoffs, but I mean, I already motivated him enough, so I'll just keep giving Reggie the fire and help Joey get a ring about that. But I just like how the skis looked against Flint. I like how they're progressing, and I'm gonna go with the underdog and the upset in this one and go skis. Why not, Allan? Who you got?
So I think what I'm going to base this off of is you brought up a really good point that they did play. And the last time they played, Will Hudson had 25 points and shot 7 from 8 from 3 in that game. I remember watching that game. I think I was live streaming it. And I would say that if they get another performance like that, Run TMC will not be beat. I think that if you have Reggie and then you have him, like you said, Quinn, you said he had a lackluster game today. But when does that usually happen with Reggie? And the next game, I feel like he's going to hear this and be like, all right, I got to go out and put on a show. So, in my opinion, I don't want Biggest Skis to hate me or anything. I love everybody in this league. I think everybody's really nice, and all these players are really dope people. But I think Run TMC probably takes this game by like 20 points.
All right. Well, the skis hate you based off that.
I think they're too good of a team.
Allan, no, look, that's a good pick. I mean, again, we're in the semifinals here, and these are some great teams. So it's really, really hard. At this point, you're splitting hairs with some of these games. So it's very close. It's going to be contested. Quinn, who you got? Skis, TMC.
Yeah, I agree with Allan. I think TMC, I feel like they're kind of disappointed in how they played this week. Even though they came out with the win, I think they know that they can play better than this. And I feel like coming into next week, they're gonna put on a show. They're gonna want to dominate in this game, and I think Reggie is gonna be the guy that's gonna want to dominate mainly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Allan said, he doesn't have many slow games like he did, so I think he might come out, put on a show. And I think TMC will win this one. And the skis can come at me for this, but I think by a pretty large margin, I think TMC is going to win. So maybe they'll shift their focus to me if I'm wrong and away from you, Greg.
Hey, that's kind of I will say I'd much rather have it this way where they're watching and like interacting with us. It's cool, and
Yeah.
I mean, like Allan said, love all you guys, but I'm gonna, like I said, I got the skis, Allan and Quinn with TMC. It's going to be a really good one. I think Eric Langston going will be a huge X factor if he does show up. But yeah, picking skis is going to be. There's a lot of PTSD thinking about Reggie dropping 40 points in semifinals games. There's been a lot of them, but moving on to the next one. It's another really good one. And I think this one is one of the games that skis TMC before the season. I don't think people predicted that in the semifinals. Obviously, no disrespect, just what we were predicting. Trailblazers Get Money was a game we envisioned might happen in the semis, and we got it. And it's going to be a really, really good one. I mean, this is talk about star-studded. You got the McCrays, the cousin, and the two brothers. I mean, you got Jelly, who's just playing out of his mind. You got Jaquan Bromell, who can jump out of the gym. You got, I mean, I don't want to name everyone here, but I mean, let's just keep going. Jacob Morales, Sean Sita's playing well. I mean, Alex Rivera's throwing dunks down. Jay Velez hitting threes. I mean, this is going to be a good game, Get Money and Trailblazers, but I got to go with the Get Money boys. I know the Glazers won't love to hear that. I love the Glazers guys, but I think this Get Money team just has something in them that they just, in the big games, in the biggest moments, when you need a big shot, you need someone to make a big defensive play, you need the right pass to be made, you just need a timeout to kind of bring everyone together, cool heads, let's focus, and let's ball out. And that's what Tyron and Tyshin and these guys do over at Get Money. I think they're a well-oiled machine, and I just think they're trending in a perfect direction to take down the Trailblazers and make it back to the finals. But I think it'll be a close one. Don't think it'll be a blowout, but I trust Get Money in this one. What about you, Allan?
So going into this game, I was predicted. I would say that I thought I was going to say that Trailblazers were going to be my dark horse. I thought that they were a very underrated team, but then I saw that they're the second seed, so I don't really think that counts as a dark horse at all now. But after watching them play today, and Jelly going as crazy as he did, I think that if you add Jaquan Brownell back into that lineup, because he didn't play, which is the craziest thing to me, because I think if he did play, like, shout out to Snipe Squad, they played amazing. Tim Case played amazing. Angelo played amazing. But if Jaquan Brownell was in that game, I don't think it would have went into double overtime. I think that he is an X factor for that team. I think for the Trailblazers, with him, with Jelly, I think with them going back and forth off each other, Jelly's defense, Jaquan's defense, the way he can dunk the ball, the way he can take full control of a game whenever he wants, I think that is really good for them. But I can say, even after saying all these good things about them, I think Get Money will still take it too. I think that they just have the experience, the veteran leadership, and I think that they have maybe a Defensive Player of the Year on their team. We'll see. And is going to be going up against a very, very good player and maybe another Defensive Player of the Year candidate in Jaquan Brownell. So I think that this game is going to be close. I think that this is maybe, I'll just say it, I think this is going to be the game of the year.
Wow. I mean, that's a good prediction. I like that one. All right, Quinn, finish us off here. Who you got? Get Money, Glazers.
I mean, listen, I predicted last week Get Money would get this one. And I love my Trailblazers boys. They always show out. And I think this is going to be a tough matchup for them, especially if Jelly is their main source of points as he was this week. I think they need to sort of get a second player in there, and hopefully Jaquan is back next week to sort of help there. But for Get Money, I mean, I'm going to be honest, I think this team there's so many guys in so many different roles. I think I keep on saying that, but it's true. Each player can do so many different things. You got one guy doing a lot on defense, the other guy doing so much on offense. It's a perfect balance. And I think Kyle Davis really needs to be back next week, because less so of any points he can score, anything like that, but I think his presence on the court, he likes to talk a little bit of smack. He likes to get in the head of the defenders and everything like that. So I think if he's back next week sort of talking his talk, I think that would really help Get Money. But yeah, I agree with Allan. I think this will be a close matchup, and I got Get Money in the end.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, like I always said, these games are like splitting hairs. This is 4 great teams left. I mean, some of the best players this league has ever seen, and it's going to be a absolute bloodbath to the finish. Because I mean, it's just if I had to put my life savings on someone to win, I wouldn't be sleeping well at night, because it really is anyone's game at this point in this season, and that's really exciting. But I don't know if you guys got any hot takes or anything. Allan, you want to call a team out, get them mad?
No, I don't think so. I think that my hot take would be that I think that the finals is probably going to be between the MVP and the Defensive Player of the Year. I think that
okay.
When that happens, we're going to see a great game, and everybody's going to want to watch that. So
All right. I like that. I mean, Quinn's already got Trailblazers on his ass, so I saw them commenting on the Instagram going, "Who's Quinn picking?"
Oh yeah.
It's just it's too funny. So I'll keep him out of the fire. But again, want to give a shout out to the teams that obviously were eliminated. Shout out to my boys, the Flint Tropics, Back Outside Boys, Snipe Squad, and Family First. You guys had a great season. I know a lot of you guys will be represented in All-Star Night. And seriously, tip of the hat to all of you. But we got our semifinals. We got Run TMC Skis. Trailblazers Get Money. It's going to be a really good one for Greg Horne, Allan, and Quinn. Thank you so much. And it was a great first weekend of Legacy Leagues playoff basketball.